Box's Lost Fragments is a puzzle game, currently free from Prime Gaming, if you've got a Prime membership, via the Epic Games Store until the 29th of September 2025. The setup for the game is that you're a thief, looking to nick something valuable from a strange mansion full of machinery, but you get trapped and need to find your way out through solving intricate puzzle boxes. It feels like a setup for an escape room game, but it's more akin to a game like Doors Paradox, which actually is also being given away by Prime Gaming, where most of the gameplay literally revolves, around static puzzle boxes, barring a few parts where you can shift to different areas. The game has a distinct graphical style, very much sort of Victorian based, but with more advanced tech than would be available then. It's not steampunk, because there's too much electricity for that, and I don't think electric punk is a proper term, but it's certainly sort of inspired by the steampunk aesthetic. It does look good, and there's actually like particle effects and some decent lighting included that honestly don't really need to be there for a puzzle game. There's a fair bit of animation involved as well, again, more than you'd expect in a game like this. And it does show kind of an attention to detail that's good to see. Strangely though, there's not much in the way of music. There's snippets when like solving a level or entering a new one, but they're just musical stings. The majority of the game is silent except for the really solid meaty sound effects. When you turn a dial, that dial feels like it's really been turned. Personally, I'm usually listening to YouTube or music when I play these puzzle games anyway, so for me the lack of a soundtrack didn't really make a difference, but it seems like an odd developer choice to skip the opportunity to add more atmosphere to a game where it seems like a lot of effort has been put into doing that via the graphics already. Your attempt to escape the mansion is played out over 5 floors, each of which have 4 rooms, with a puzzle box in each of those that you need to solve. Each puzzle gives an item that is then used in the central hub room to solve one more puzzle to allow access to the next floor. As always, these games live and die by the quality of their puzzles, and I'm happy to say Boxes doesn't disappoint. We have a good variety here, from really good logic puzzles to very simple slider matching ones that I don't think qualify as a puzzle. Interacting with the environment is important here. For example, latches need to be moved by your mouse to unlatch them. Keys need to be turned to actually work. Additionally, the items that you collect sometimes need to be manipulated in order to be useful. I was stumped more than a few times before I got into the habit of inspecting every object I picked up to see if anything about it could be altered in some way. You rarely have more than a couple of items in your inventory. I don't think you can actually have more than 4 at a time anyway. So the puzzle solving is very linear compared to some of those hidden object games that Amazon often give away, and that I review and kinda like. Having said that though, some interactive spots on the boxes are pretty hard to spot. I found myself spinning the box around and just clicking everywhere, trying to find an area to interact with that I hadn't previously seen. If you do get stuck, you have a hint function that highlights the area that you need to interact with to move forward. If you're in a puzzle and you're just getting stuck completely, you can skip it. I did resort to this once, just once, I promise. It was a puzzle involving like letters on the keyboard that I don't know what was going on. I have no idea how I was supposed to solve it. When I skipped it, I was a little bit disappointed that it didn't sort of actually complete the puzzle and show me what the answer was, because I kind of wanted to know what the hell was going on, but obviously there's guides available online. There aren't any options to set different difficulties, so the hint and skip functions are the only option if you're finding the game a bit too difficult. One other option that is surprisingly lacking is the ability to replay levels once the game's completed. Once you've seen the final cutscene and you're back at the main menu, your only option is to restart the game and lose all your progress, or go onto a new profile and start from the beginning. A bit of a shame really, because some of those puzzles, if you skip them maybe, I'd kind of like to revisit without having to go through the entire game again. Playing through the 20 levels plus the 5 hub puzzles took me around 4.5 hours, and that's obviously with one puzzle skipped, and I think maybe 2 hints that I used, which could have been avoided with a bit more checking of the puzzle box and remembering to inspect the items I picked up. There is a story, though it's mostly told through 11 cards that are placed throughout the levels and are entirely optional to pick up. It's pretty simple, as there isn't much room on these cards for a complicated narrative, but there is a story cutscene at the end that was a bit of a surprise. The story sort of explains some of the tech that's in the game, but honestly it doesn't really impact the gameplay that much. I appreciated that it was there though. It adds to the feeling of the whole game being like complete and polished, and that's not just because the graphics look shiny. It's because everything just works, didn't have any issues with the game at all. I enjoyed Box's Lost Fragments. The puzzles were varied, and the more involved puzzles were challenging enough to be satisfying to solve. And the graphics and sound effects added to that experience. I definitely recommend Boxes to puzzle fans. Okay, I'm done stealing from Victoria era mansions. I'm giving up my life of crime in the 1800s. I'm off to turn over a new leaf. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.